Hello and welcome back to another segment of Naomi's Scrappy Retreat. Just a place where we can share ideas, make crafts together, do some DIY crafts, some fun how-tos, and then later on I want to do some inspirational videos and just share some of my likes and loves and passions. I love the outdoors, really love the fall. Fall leads up to Christmas and just the smells and the colors that go with it. I just absolutely love it. So I have been doing multiple pumpkins, pumpkin bouquets using the Dollar Tree styrofoam, the orange pumpkin. So on this one, what I did, I had done 4 of them the other day, and I went ahead and just painted them with the Waverly chalk white. And because it did a lot of crackling on it, and because of the texture, I really wanted to do something a little different. So I've actually just been covering everything. So I did some with ribbon, and so I did a tutorial just a little bit ago on a ribbon, one that I use ribbon on, and so I'm actually going to cover this with burlap. And so I just wanted to kind of show you, step by step how to do this, so that you can join me in this. Let's go ahead and gather all the materials we need to do this. That way you can craft along with me. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab something real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, I think I have everything I need. My hot glue gun is off to the side. It is already heated because I just finished another craft. Again, I've been loving these little pumpkins. So I know it's kind of like a hodgepodge mess right now on the table, but these are the things I think I'm going to use. I don't know yet if I'm going to use raffia, but I did go ahead and get that out just in case. I also have a couple different kinds of the jute twine, just in case I decide to use this. This is the 3-pack that comes in the Dollar Tree. It's in the automotive section. I don't know why it's in the automotive section. I say that all the time. So if you know why it's in the automotive section, I would love to hear it. But there's 3 of them in the pack. And I use this a lot. It's pretty hairy compared to the other jute twines that they have there, but I don't mind. I take the scissors or whatever and snip off the worst ones. Some of it pulls off really easy, but I love the look of it because I make fall trees and I use this to wrap around the wooden stem to make the trunk, and I just find that it adds better texture because there's so many different colors woven into this. I just love it. So there's a little how-to tip before we get started. I also grabbed this I do believe, yes, I got it also from the Dollar Tree just the other day. So I'm just putting all these over to the side so that our workspace is not cluttered up. And again, this was a Dollar Tree pumpkin. I told you I painted it. You can paint it a different color. You can spray paint it. What I also did, which I cut too small of a piece, again, this is the second time I've done that. I just cut a piece of the Dollar Tree styrofoam. I don't like this kind. It's very hard to push stems in unless you got a fatter stem. So if you're working with something that is smaller, you're going to want the finer textured one, but the finer textured one leaves dust everywhere. So all I did was I cut it, I glued it, and I stuck it in the bottom. And so as you can see, it's stuck in there. It's not going anywhere. The other thing, so see, here's the stem to it. So I think I'm going to use this. I used for a different pumpkin. So I may use this as some decoration on here later on. I don't know yet. And then I kind of like this, but I don't know that this is necessarily going to go with the burlap that we're going to be used to go around it. So again, part of this process is just finding the materials you think you want to use and then weeding through as you put it together to decide what you want to do. I also have rocks because when we get to the point of needing them, we're going to put a handful or so of rocks in the bottom. That just gives it more stability. Keeps it from flying away if you decide to put it outside. This can be put outside. Obviously you want to put it someplace where it's covered, free from, you know, I don't think it would be bad for the sunlight to hit it, but you definitely don't want it to get a lot of sunlight. You don't want it to get rained on or snowed on, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And then I just picked out some florals that I thought I wanted. I wanted more of a neutral palette, so I picked up these sunflowers here from the Dollar Tree. I also have these berries, also from the Dollar Tree. They may be a little too big for this pumpkin, but we'll see. Then I wanted a little pop of color. I know I said I wanted to go neutral, but I think I want just a little pop of color. I don't yet know what that looks like for this project. So I just pulled out these. I had already used these for another project, so this is what I had left on the stem. So some little berries and some pretty fall lighter colored leaves. And then I picked up this heather. Now, I'm not typically one to go on a lot of color, and my camera does not show you how bright this is, but this is a very bright orange. But I think it might add just the pop of color we need at the top to give it some height and some just, you know, some depth, some prettiness, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to set all of this off to the side. I'm going to put that in there for right now and put that over there. So the other thing we're going to use is we are going to use burlap. Now, I used to get my burlap in the hunting section. They used to come in really big sheets, you know, like Tarpies, but I have not been able to find them this year, so instead I had to go to where they keep this in the flower section at Walmart. It comes with the white attached. If you go to the opposite end of this roll, all you have to do is pull it, and it pulls literally right off. So it is not really adhered on there very well. This is a very, so I just wanted to show you that before we get into a roll that I had already started. It's hard to adhere anything to this. I made a pumpkin wreath yesterday, and I'll share that link if I can remember down in the description. So it's very hard to get the glue gun to actually stick and make everything work, but it turned out beautiful. So let me so what we're going to do is we are just going to make sure that this is going to come all the way around. We're going to cut this off. So we want to cut it off here, and it definitely can be bigger than what you need, because a lot of it's going to be wrapped inside the pumpkin, but you're going to realize you have folds. It's not going to completely cover the way you want it to cover. We'll probably cut some of the excess off. So let me finish clearing off my table, and we will get started. Okay, so I went ahead and started trying to figure out the corners, and already cut out a piece, and then realized, oh, you do not have the camera on. So I am cutting out the corners. This is going to take away some of the bulkiness for the fabric, because this burlap is very, if you've not used it before, it's very thick, which is great in a lot of instances. But when you are trying to wrap something around and you have a very big bulky fabric, it tends to want to fight you, and you do not want to be fighting in this project. It's supposed to be fun and creative and crafty. Now, that is not to say that all crafts are going to run smooth, because I can tell you for a fact that a lot of my crafts do not run smooth, but the end result I end up loving so much that it was worth the risk. Now, I don't have kids of my own, but those of you that have kids, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You go through the 9 months of having that baby and being pregnant, and then you go through that birth, and some people have a very difficult birth, but after you have that child, they are such a blessing that all of that pain and suffering that you went through was definitely worth it. So you know, it's like with anything in life, there's you know, there's probably going to be some difficulties and some pain and suffering, but the end result is usually you know, very good. So I'm just going to put these pieces off to the side, and right now what we have is kind of a cross. So I know it's a little scary looking. There's actually probably a little more fabric that I cut off that I shouldn't have, but it'll be okay. So what you really want to do is you want to start working in these, you kind of want to just see what it's going to look like before you start taking the hot glue to it. So we're just going to wrap this up a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do what I just did and see how that makes that like that. But what we can do then is then we can just tuck that under and hot glue that. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I can see a little bit of the white through this burlap, so I'm definitely glad that I painted this beforehand. If you want a little bit of the orange to show through, depends on the look you're going for. So if you have, if you're using more reds and oranges and bright yellows, then honestly the orange from the Dollar Tree pumpkin showing through is probably going to be beautiful. But I did not want that for this. I wanted more neutral colors. So I think I'm actually going to cut a little bit of that off to get started, just so that I can get used to how much of this I'm going to need. So I don't know, you might want to, so I'm going to do this because it's going to keep moving on me. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it on there. I'm going to turn it over and then just press it down, and I'm going to let that glue dry just a little bit. That way we're not fighting with it. I know when I do my pumpkins with the ribbons, because it is round, and especially with the surface I'm using, it slides all over the place and I'm fighting with it. So I don't know why I haven't thought of that sooner. Okay, so now we're just going to take it and we're going to bunch it up and go like this and shove it inside. So what we want to do then, since we know where it's going to be, is just run a bead of hot glue right on the edge of that pumpkin, that styrofoam inside. And again, gather it up, press it down. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to press it and hold it just for a moment. And if you're like me and burn yourself quite often, then please be very careful. So do that for the edges, and then so depending on what you want it to look like, see, I did it all on one side and it bunched up too much, but what I ended up doing then is gathering it more like this and going down, and it's just these cute thin little pleats. So what I'm going to do then is put another dab of glue here. And then I'm going to put a dab of glue under this side and a dab of glue under this side. And then use my popsicle stick from Dollar Tree and poke that down. Again, you can use something metal because it will probably adhere less, but that's what I have on hand. I have used my scissors before, as I said in another episode, but I just make too much of a mess of them and I don't want to clean them, so it's just easier to use the popsicle sticks. So now we've come to a frayed edge. So now we're going to bring it under like that and pull it tight. See how that looks like that? It's nice and neat. And you can, if you want, go ahead and add some glue to the edge. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. And then go ahead and glue down here. Okay, so I have to ask this. What do you guys use as a glue gun? I have had my glue gun for a long time, and I honestly don't know where I got it. We have a love-hate relationship. It loves to hate me. So it's very hot, which is a good thing, and it's on the lowest setting. But I am always not only burning myself, but because of the way it's made here, it's always falling over. Like, it doesn't matter how gently I put it down, it's falling over. So you know, if you have a glue gun that you love, I would love to know what that is, because I really struggle with mine. I love that. Look at that, because now it kind of gives it detail of, you know, of what a pumpkin looks like. Because this was my first seam under, and I'm going to do this probably on a couple of them. The edge, you know, where we cut out is right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue all of that down too. So, you know what, besides everything else, I mean, that is super cute. I mean, look at how that turned out. I got a little extra glue in a couple places. The inside is ready now for rocks. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I thought about putting like some twine around it, but, you know, I don't know. That's not really wide enough for that. I also have this, it's kind of a flatter. It can be rounded, but it also flattens out a little bit, which is interesting. But if I do that, then it's gonna, I don't know. As I go on, I will see if there's a fix for it. I may just put like a couple strips of, you know, of something around it to make it look like it's supposed to be that way. Now I have this ribbon that I was showing you earlier. Again, I just don't know if I like the harshness of this. So let's just look at it real quick and see what it looks like on this. Because what I might do is just put a couple pieces of ribbon down it and then back up and do that maybe on two sides and then go from there. So we have a couple different options, and honestly I probably should do that before I do anything else. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this so that you can end up seeing that process that I did, and then you can tell me if you would have done that or maybe what you would have done differently to cover that, because there is some, you know, I did have to put some extra glue there just so that it wouldn't fray out. And again, I mean, it's fine. I don't think it's terrible, but you know, you want to give it to somebody or sell it, and it's not going to be, you know, it's really not a great finished look. So let's just see what this looks like. I mean, I now kind of like that, like that, like that, like that. It's actually not bad. It kind of does stand off, still makes it look neutral. So let's go ahead and cut that. And let's make two of those. And then I can make a small bow still from this. And I think it'll be fine. Okay, so sorry, I just needed to clean up some of this glue off. So I'm going to clean up my little area real quick, and then we will get back to filling this up and finishing this piece off. I'm also going to add the rock in there, so give me a second, we'll be right back. Okay, so the craft area is cleaned off a little bit. I brought my box back over that has the rocks in it, so we're just going to, the funny thing is when I did this before, I was so happy. I glued all the styrofoam in, put the rocks in, and then realized, oh my goodness, I did not paint these pumpkins. So then I had to take all the rocks back out, And of course the styrofoam was already stuck in, but you know, that didn't matter because I was just painting the outside. But I had styrofoam. I had to take all that back out, so that's why it's in a box, and maybe looks a little funky, but it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just a rock holder, right? So now I just have to shove all these rocks back in. And again, it's really basically just about a handful. I'm not sure why I have extra, because I've now done all 4 pumpkins. So something didn't get enough rocks, I guess. Again, it's just a weight. It's just something to help keep it weighted down a little bit, give it some durability for the weather. If you put it outside, also gives it some durability. If it's inside, sitting on something, and you know, it might get brushed up against or whatever, it's not gonna just fly all over the place. So that's kind of takes care of getting it weighted down. And now we have our leaves on our, you know, our heather, which again is bright orange, some berries, and then our sunflowers. So I'm going to speed this part up just so that way you don't have to watch me playing and fooling around with all of this. I'm going to have to end up cutting all of this, and because there is styrofoam in it, I can't just bend it. So I have all this to cut off, and then I cut these. So just stay tuned, and I'm going to speed this up. Okay, so I used the rest of the ribbon I was showing you earlier, and all I did was I cut 2 strips, and I used what was left on there. I don't have any more left. So I didn't think I wanted tails, you know, on this ribbon. I thought I just wanted something very simple anyhow, just something to kind of stick under there and make it look pretty. I'm actually going to be gluing it up a little higher, so it's going to kind of look like that. And I think I want to leave the tails on this, but let me get it glued on there first to see what I think. I am still fighting with this, trying to get it centered. I'm really terrible at making bows, but I actually like this one. This one is probably one of my favorites so far. It was fairly simple. I don't know if you could see what I did, but I just cut it and then hot glued the back, and then just took some of this this jute twine, and just cut that. So let me go ahead and get this all glued on. And then once that's glued on, we'll decide if we want to keep those strings hanging down or not. And this one's going to be a little tough to put on because I want to get it centered as best as possible and get it stuck on there, because I usually like to wire my bows on, but if this is, since this is probably just going to stay on the inside, it's not as it's not as important to make sure it's wired on. It should stay and not have an issue. Oh my goodness, that is so cute. And you know what? I think, I don't know. You tell me. Do you like that? I don't think you can really see it, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off, which makes me sad to lose all that. There's not really enough to keep, but it is so stinking cute. So I'm gonna take pictures of it, attach it at the end as a collage so that you can see what this looks like. I thank you so much for joining me again on another crafting adventure. And I like this because it is kind of two-sided. You have this side with the 3 sunflowers and the bow, and then this side just kind of has the 1 sunflower but the berries. I really, honestly, I don't know if I like these berries. Every time I see them, I do pick up a couple, and then I'm like, I never use them. So I just think they're really big, but part of that could be because I'm making such small crafts with them. So once I get to making bigger wreaths, maybe it'll look better. So it doesn't look bad from the back. Like when you see it from the back, it doesn't look bad, but it is two-sided. So if you wanted to turn it to this side, you could. If you wanted to turn it to this side, you could. But again, thank you so much for joining me. You know, if you made this, or if you made something like this, I would love to see how you did it. So please share you know, your creation as well. And if you have not subscribed yet, I would appreciate if you would hit the subscribe bell, the notification bell, and the subscribe button, and of course give this a thumbs up if you liked it. And again, thank you so much for joining me on this, and I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, and peaceful day. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.